everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. So, for today's podcast, we have Mr. Dean, and he is the foreign language teaching assistant under the Fulbright scholarship. So, Mr. Dean, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening tonight. My name is Muhammad Azmanuddin bin Azman, but people can call me Dean or Mr. D or however you like. Okay. So I am currently working at Institute Perguruan Bahasa Antarabangsa, okay, in Kuala Lumpur. Formerly, before I flew off to the States, I was at Putrajaya 1592 as an English teacher there. And then things happened, I moved out and all that. And for my Fulbright program, I was placed at Ohio University, actually from 2022 to 2023. So I was there for 9 months, which is the whole academic year. So yeah, I was there to teach Bahasa Melayu, which is our language, and also introducing our culture to the Americans and also the international students there. I think that's about all.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. So, let's get into the first question. Okay, so this podcast episode will be focusing on your experience as the Fulbright foreign language teacher at United States, specifically in Ohio University. So the first question, reflecting on your experience as a Fulbright FLTA in the United States, what were some of the most significant differences you noticed between the Malaysian and American education systems?
Okay, thank you for the question. Very academic indeed. So anyway, I would just start off with this safe answer first. Okay, every kind of education system is unique on its own way, and of course, it is actually to cater to their local needs as well. So based on my experience in the States, okay, I have observed a few things that I think differ from what we have back in our country. But I cannot really speak up much because I didn't really fully enroll myself there as a full-time or part-time student. All I did was just, how do I say, I was given a chance to study, but it's not recognized as a degree or also undergrad program. It's more like a certificate program that is given to me in exchange for my duty as an SLTA there. So what I can see is that based on my experience there, they allow us to do credit and also audit, of course. So for my case, I was given the opportunity to audit one class and also credit one class for each of the semesters that I was there. So each semester I did one audit and one credit. As for the audit class, I did not have to do anything. All I had to do is just enter the class. You know, like what auditing does, right? So I did that. And for the credit class, I still have to went for the class as usual. It was 4 credit hours, so I had about, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 classes a week. Okay, 2 classes a week for about a 1 hour, no, not 1 hour and a half, more like 1 hour and 20 minutes, like that. So what I can see is that the assessment is very much, um, I'm not trying to say lenient, but it's very less rigid. It's not like 100% examination oriented per se. The assessment comes in so many ways. For example, this one course that I took, I think it's about learning of modern languages. First, we had to listen to podcasts, okay, weekly. And then as we listen to the podcast, we have to come up with reflections upon what we've listened. And the best thing is that we do not have to come up with um, references list to back up whatever that we have written. It's more like our own feelings towards it and based on whatever we have learned in the past few studies or courses of our studies. So that's really nice. And then it also had a little bit of practical or hands-on activities where we had to come up with certain materials that will be documented later on. That is really perfect for me as well because it's more related to what we are actually doing. And also they have no exam, no exam and no quizzes for this particular course, which is really interesting because normally whenever you learn, there will be like quizzes and then at the end of the semester you'll have exam, but not for this particular course that I took. So what I can say is that the how do I say, what is the word again? It's not rigid. There's always like flexibility in the cost based on whatever that the cost coordinator designed the program. Okay, and that is also reflected upon my own course, which is Bahasa Melayu, Mala 101 and also 201, where I actually can approach my courses differently. So I had 4 quizzes, 4 quizzes only for the whole 12 weeks. I only have 4 quizzes given to my students. And then we had um, final exam because language courses required to have final exam. And then we have, if I'm not mistaken, for the beginner class, they had to write reflection. That is like bi-weekly. And for the intermediate, they don't have reflections, but they had to do a lot of in-class assignments. This include them doing presentations and what else? More like presentations wise. And then at the end of the semesters, they have to come up with a simple project. The project is based on what they wanted to learn more about our country. For example, if they are interested to know more about nasi lemak, so they can do research about nasi lemak, how it came to be our national dish, what kind of the variations that are there in our country and whatnot. So these all accumulate to the whole 100% of the amount. So that's how flexible their system. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Yeah, thank you for very much. So, you mentioned about the activities that you did, with your classes, and of
Uh-huh.
course, I understand that when you were there, you were the lecturer because, of course, you were at a university. Of course, your position was as a lecturer, and you're teaching
Yeah.
university students. Okay, great. And how did your time at Ohio University contribute to your personal and professional growth as an educator? And also, you mentioned that there were a lot of activities that you did, and you love the hands-on kind of activities. So, were there any specific teaching methodologies or strategies that you found particularly effective during your stay? Perhaps you can explain about how did how did the experience contribute to your personal growth first and also your professional growth? Yeah.
Okay. For the first question, the growth, professional wise as well as personal wise. Okay. I'm gonna go personal first. I think being the only representative back then, okay, during the whole period of me staying in the States as FLTA for Malaysia, I had to do a lot of thinking, a lot of decision making that I need to do real quick because I was there by myself. So it really taught me to really be on my toes the whole time. So that is one thing that I learned. And secondly, I also learned that your word, your word really matters. I think this applies to everybody. Okay, whenever you deal with people, you really have to be cautious of what you said and how you act upon it because there will be consequences after that. Okay, be it like positive or negative, there will be something like the aftermath of whatever you just said. So you have to be mindful of that. That is something that I learned deeply as well. Not that I was into any problems and whatnot when I was there. It's just that something that I reflect upon. And in terms of professional growth, I think I had more connection there, like with the faculty members. Okay, back in the States, Ohio University in particular. I belong to this world education, world language faculty, in fact. So we had a lot of networking with other languages as well, like Indonesia, Thailand, and also African languages such as Wolof and also Akan. We have Hindi, and we have a lot of activities that incorporate all of these cultures and languages. So from there, I managed to have network. And I think this is a thing that I cannot trade anywhere. It's really interesting to be given such opportunity. And I am indeed very grateful for that. Okay, that is about my growth. Remember when we watch like any Hollywood movies, there will be the day where they call parents to the school for career day and all that. I noticed that the same practice is applied at the university level as well. So I remember one time we had this invited guest coming over to class just to tell people, especially those undergraduate, because remember my class is mix of not just the graduate student, but also undergraduate students. So there are those people who are still searching for ways to become English teachers or even lecturers. So they brought in people to actually tell them what they can do, okay, such as teaching overseas and all that. This is really interesting to me because sometimes as a teacher or lecturer, we don't know everything. We don't know everything. So sometimes we need extra help. So that extra help could also mean us bringing people from the outside into our classroom. So this is what they practice. And also they make use of opportunities. They also make use of events that happen around the campus. For example, uh, during my second semester, which was the fall semester, no, spring semester, we had a visit by these Argentinian Fulbrighters. They are like, if I'm not mistaken, 20 to 40 of them teachers from Argentina, and also Brazil. Okay, they came to Ohio University to learn a few things. At the same time, they had to set up like a demonstration at the end of the course. So we were invited to go to that demonstration, okay, where they actually display a lot about teaching materials and teaching like pedagogies and whatnot during that fair or the demonstration. And then in the upcoming class, our lecturer told us to actually reflect upon what we have learned from that fair, the demonstration earlier. So that's really good to me. It seems like they are really an opportunist. Okay, they take in whatever that is happening as part of the learning process for that particular course. This happened as well with my language classes, where during the Hari Raya, I actually invited my students to my house for my little open house. And then I briefed them about Nasi Lemak, I briefed them about the celebration itself, the Eid Fitri, and also why it's very important for the kids to actually kiss the elderly's hands, and also what is the significance of handing over Duit Raya or the Ampau. Okay, all that. That's really interesting to me, the way they set up lessons based on what's happening around them. Yeah, that's one thing I learned.
Yeah, well, that's quite interesting because it means that you take advantage of opportunities and then incorporate that into your teaching and learning. Like for example, when
Correct.
you mentioned about Hari Raya, inviting your students to your house for Hari
Mhm.
Raya. So at the same time, they are learning about Malaysian culture, part and parcel of Malaysian culture, which is the Malay culture. Yeah,
Yes,
and
and also the
I
language too.
yeah. So I think as educators, I feel that I think that we need to, of course, take advantage of opportunities, teaching opportunities, so that we can let our students have those learning opportunities. I think although yours is in the university context, I believe it also applies to like primary school and secondary school. It's just
Yes,
that
definitely.
it's just that as educators, we need to know when to take advantage of those opportunities. Yeah.
Correct.
So that's quite interesting because you're not only learning about you don't only let your students learn about Malay culture or Malaysian culture in a in a confined setting, which is in the classroom, but you also bring them to your house and then learn about Malay culture, outside of the classroom. I mean, it's the kind of pedagogical approach that we always talk about, but it's rarely being done. But I think
Mm-hmm.
because there was an opportunity, so you took that chance. Yeah, which was
Yes.
great. Yeah, especially
I
when you
think
want.
it's what I
Yeah.
think it's what they call as experiential learning as well, which is learning by experience. This is
Yes.
part of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, good job. That's quite
Thank
interesting.
you. Thank you. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot to add on earlier regarding the teaching pedagogies. Also, the emphasis on flipped classroom. It is really emphasis a lot there, where students have to do readings before they enter the class. If they don't, then they might be lost. So yeah, things like that is really so into focus there.
Yeah. Thank you for that sharing. And
Hmm.
so, just now you mentioned about your personal growth, and it was something about our words and all that. So perhaps this is related to some of the challenges you faced as a foreign language teacher. So what challenges did you face, in bridging the cultural and linguistic gaps between yourself and your American students? And how did you overcome these challenges?
So, where do I start? Okay, I think for starters, every time we teach any language courses, we have to bear in mind that they came in with zero knowledge, right? So, of course, when it comes to that, they will be easy for you to just start teaching them. But little that you aware of, there will be certain circumstances where your students might know things or two that you yourself don't. So what I did was, because I am, of course, I don't know everything, so I just know a little bit of what I know. So I always get back to my students, or maybe to not my students, my colleagues back home. That's why if you notice, like sometimes on my Facebook, my social media, I always ask people like, okay, guys, what do you think of this? Okay, what is the word equivalent to this? So you always have to ask around, and just don't be embarrassed about it. Don't be embarrassed to tell your students, um, I'll get back to you once I get information on the question earlier. Because it's okay not to know something. And it also gives them like, oh, my teacher also have the thought that if you don't know something, you should go and ask. So that is actually what you are implying as well. So it's really something that I think we all should try to practice, lower our ego, sometimes just say, okay, I know this, you don't know, so you just let me do my job instead. Okay, you can't have that kind of attitude. Okay, if you don't know something, you just tell them, okay, thank you, I'll get back to you later once I know this. Because I remember they are asking me about politics stuff, and I am not someone who is very well versed when it comes to politics, especially the one in Malaysia. So what I did was tell her to hold on to that thought, and I did get back to her later. So that's what I did. So it was a challenge because they might see us like, oh, he doesn't know much. But again, I turned things around by saying that I'll get back to you once the time permits. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there will be a situation where more students will take up screen time in class. So they'll do more talking than the rest. So as teachers, you will have that kind of students. So you have to know how to turn things around by saying things like, "Thank you, that's really wonderful. Now, how about the others? What are your thoughts? What do you think of this? Do you agree with her? Okay, at least she knows that she's not the only one in class, or he's not the only one in class. There are others too, and they should be given fair amount of attention as well." And the third challenges that I think I faced was in terms of preparation itself, because Bahasa Malaysia or Bahasa Melayu is taught in this particular university, and it is the only university in the state that offer the language course. So we don't really have like a very strong reference books and all that, like a module and stuff, unlike other language courses. So I had to come up with my own material and incorporating with whatever's happening at the moment, and also make sure that everything ties back to the school's curriculum, Ohio University curriculum, which is the element of BRICKS. What else? The big idea, they call it big idea, and so much more. So all this have to come into play. And at one point, it kind of like became a challenge to me, but over time, I think I survived. I survived in the end, so that's good enough. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So yeah, so those are very interesting challenges because prior to this you taught primary schools, right? And
Mhm.
and then you when you went there, you were teaching university students. So they have different levels of understanding, and also different. Of course, how we deal with them should also be different. Our approach to teaching them. So
Agree.
yeah, like when you said that that we don't that they will question you. Is that it? That they question you? They ask you about certain things that that you have no knowledge of, and
Correct.
it will be different when it comes to when we compare primary school students to university students. And
Yeah.
so these are experiences that I believe have also made you grow professionally. So
Mhm.
How about memorable experiences or interactions that you had with your American colleagues or students that help foster cultural exchange and build meaningful connections during your Fulbright program? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, this. I really love this question actually. I think I enjoy myself doing cultural related stuff more than the teaching because I believe that teaching language is not easy and it always comes hand in hand with culture. So if you were to say that, oh, I just want to learn the language and not the culture, it's not fair really because you have to learn them both. So being granted with such a good supervisor, she's really active. She always like suggests us to do things, and we did all that under her tutelage as well. So the one thing that I really enjoyed the most was to push myself to actually set up a booth, Malaysia booth, all by myself. This is something really cool. Actually, the university did like an international week where they actually encourage all these country representatives to come up with a booth and then sell things. But I did not sell anything. What I did was handed out to people free onde onde. I did some onde onde and I just give out to people like, okay, this is onde onde from my country. Well, at least that's what we call in our country onde onde, the glutinous rice ball. And also I handed out a few sachet of tea, so like Bo and also Lipton, if I'm not mistaken. So I had a couple of them. And then at the same time, I let them play a few of the games, traditional games that I brought over, Chongka, and then we have Batu Seremban, and also a few sets of DIY batik where I actually approached some kids to actually try to do it. So that was to me the best memories that I have because it not only that it mm, involved the students at university, Ohio University, but also the local communities. So the target group was bigger. So I managed to somehow talk to more people and told more people about our country. In fact, there were some of them who came to me and then I said, I've been to Malaysia before and I was there when I was like young and I kind of like forget about things that I have experienced there before. So thank you for coming. And then they took photo of me wearing baju Melayu, full set of baju Melayu. That's really wonderful. And besides that, we also had a few projects where we actually um, show no not show did wayang kulit show we did at the local at our university library once and then we also had it at local primary school. That was really interesting because there were three of us, myself and the Thailand FLTA and Indonesia FLTA, and each of us took a character and then we just did shadow puppet because we want to show them that they are this we want to show them that there's one culture but shared by other countries. So three of us are tied with one cultural element, which is shadow puppetry. We call it wayang kulit, and they call it differently. But still, it's the same thing. And the kids enjoyed it so much. They enjoyed the show. They enjoyed the puppets, and we ourselves felt very happy and very satisfied. That's one thing. And the third thing that I will never forget would be my open house, right? Open house not because I did open house, but because I cook. I cooked for the first time. I did nasi lemak by myself, and it worked. It worked. So I was very happy. Sadly, I don't know what happened. The second time people asked me to do nasi lemak, it didn't work anymore. So it only happened during that open house, sadly. So yeah, that's something that I think the biggest takeaway that I could get about me sharing our culture to Ohio University and Essence community in general.
Yeah, as you were explaining, sharing your experience, it took me back to my time when I was in the US. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when it's kind of different when you are in Malaysia. You don't really want to show off your culture because everyone has the same culture, shares the same culture. But when you go to other places, suddenly you became this an active ambassador of your country or your culture. Yeah, so we become very proud of our heritage, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and want other people to understand that why our culture is like this and so and so. Yeah, I can relate to what you experience. Yes.
Exactly. And also for your information, I also brought in Kadazan Attire with me.
Oh yeah, actually,
Kadazan, yeah,
yeah, I saw
there's
that.
Ipan, Indian, Chinese, and even of course Baju Melayu, that which I have like three sets altogether. So yeah, that's crazy. But I
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
yeah, it's great that you represent all of the. I mean, you try to represent uh, the cultures in Malaysia, not only Malay but also other cultures. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's quite interesting, and I find it it's good that you're not only you are an ambassador of Malaysia when you went there. I mean, we all. I mean, any of us who go to another country, of course,
yeah,
we'll like automatically we become the ambassador for our country. Yeah,
yeah.
without realizing it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So you shared about your the things that you learned there, and also what you taught to the
Mhm,
students, and also of course sharing about your culture, about the Malaysian or Malay culture in there. And so, being immersed in a different educational and cultural environment, did you come across any innovative teaching practices or approaches in the US that you believe could be adapted or implemented in the Malaysian education system? Can you provide some examples?
Okay. I think what they have is pretty much like what we already have, which is the is it open learning kind of system where we actually have what was it that we have actually? I forgot. I left school already. Was it again? Can you help me with this? Where we have like every student have their own account, email account, and all that, and then we upload things for
Uh,
the
uh, yeah, we call it the Lima.
yes,
Uh,
yes, that's the one. That's the one. Okay.
yeah.
They also have that, and it's actually being actively used as well. As a matter of fact, you can also do your assessments from there as well. Uh, Sadly, I have forgotten what is it called, but it is similar to Delima as well. That is something that I think really wonderful. They can do like quizzes there, and then the instructors, like myself, we can actually set up questions there as well, and then just lock it, and then open it whenever the students are ready to answer. That's one thing that I think wonderful. And when it comes to teaching method, as I mentioned before, the hands-on, the flipped classroom, the flexibility of the assessment, all those are something that never fail to impress me. But what I want to focus more would be the facilities. Okay, the facilities. Okay, I know we can't really compare. They are America, we are Malaysia, and there are still things that we need to catch up with. But the fact that they have this all-round internet connection does help. Does help, especially for students who ran out of their internet quota, so they can just go somewhere, especially in the library, and then get access to everything related to their study. That's really helpful. And also, they have LCD projectors in class ready, um, the projector, and of course the monitor. And there's this one desktop where lecturers can just access to their email or their drive, and then just take out all of the materials that they have, and then just share it with the students in class. That is really good to me. And I rarely see lecturers taking or bringing their laptops around because each classes already have computers. They have to do is just access to their own Google Drive, and then they can get all the materials they want for the lesson. That's really wonderful. And also the fact that their library is huge and very well equipped. That is something that I think really interesting as well. You know that the students can just swipe the access card to this photocopier, and they can just get their things or documents printed with as low as 2 cents. That's really nice. So that is really wonderful. And then what else? Students' privileges as well. I would say another thing that I like about them. I can just get on any buses for free. I don't have to pay anything to go to the city. I mean, the city is not city. I would say just small town. That's where I was, Athens. At least our welfare is well taken care of. They also give away groceries to students as well for free. You can go and get milk, bread, whatever you need. They have what we call as cats pantry. We call it cats because we are the bobcats, the university mascot bobcat, and others. So if we can have all those things, it will be wonderful. Not to say that we don't have it yet. We have it actually, especially at school. We have RMT. Our textbooks are given for free, so we have all that already. It's just that maybe the way we organize it can be a lot more niche. That's what I'm trying to say. The internet connection, though, we still have to improve that.
Yes, yes, yeah, indeed. I agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you mentioned about internet connectivity, that was
Mm.
also one of the things that I see was very quite different from what we already have.
But again, just a disclaimer that I only experienced things from that university. So maybe things are different in another district, another county. We don't know because not every single state of America has the same privileges as well because their country is huge. They have 50 states altogether. So I'm pretty sure there will be states or schools who are underprivileged as well. But the school that I went for the Wayang Kulit show, it was not bad. They said that it was one of the uh, good schools. So when I say one of the good schools, it's definitely mean there are schools who are not good as well. So we could expect that those who are not good, they might have less facilities as well. I assume. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, one of my mentor teachers when I was there, yeah, she told me that I was in Florida, so she told me that not every school in Florida has those kind of facilities. Maybe I was placed there because they have a lot of. I mean, they have internet connectivity. The whole school has internet connectivity. So yeah, so when she told me that, okay, actually in Florida we don't all not all of the schools have this kind of internet connection. Yeah, so I guess in a way we are similar, in a way we are different. Yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, 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 I
We
agree.
can we can we can take in all the good things that we see and adapt it to whatever we already have and make our things even better. That's all we can do. We cannot just take in and script whatever we have. It will be a waste of whatever we already have, right?
Yeah.
So that's why adaptation and also what we call it adapt and adopt, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
true. All
Mhm.
right, so that is the last question.
Oh,
So
really?
before we end this episode,
Yeah.
do you have any like advice for people, for teachers
Mm.
who would like to apply for the Fulbright foreign language teaching assistant program?
Okay, sure. I would say that do not give up whatever you have. Maybe as for me, I always look up for opportunities to teach and work abroad. So Fulbright was not the only one that I've applied before. Actually, I did Contact as well back in 2019, the Korea Teacher Exchange Program, and then Fulbright. And I'm looking forward for the next one if there's any. But sadly, I'm no longer a teacher. I'm no longer in service at school. But I hope there will be opportunities for lecturers as well in IPG, obviously. But for teachers out there, please be on the lookout whenever they have advertisement on any kind of exchanges program. Just apply. Okay, don't think that oh I am nothing. I might not be able to get it. You just don't know. Okay, you just don't know. You just have to try first. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you keep on trying. That's all. That's all you can do. There's no like okay, I'm not good. I'm not gonna try anything. That is a waste of time. You teachers, you have plenty of opportunities. All you have to do is just apply. Okay. All right. I think that's all I could say. And don't forget, whatever you do, be yourself. Just be you because nobody else can be you and you should not be anybody else as well. That is also the key to be accepted in any interviews, I guess. Okay, I think that will be all for me, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Dean. So that is the end of our episode. I hope all of you listeners out there have maybe this podcast episode can serve as a preparation for you mentally. You know, before you think of applying for the FLTA program.
Hmm.
And so, us at Hive would like to say thank you for agreeing to this, for agreeing to be part of this podcast episode. Yeah, and your experience has helped. I believe they will help those out there who are interested to apply for the program. So thank you very much, Mr. Dean.
Thank you for having me as well. Thank you for inviting me. And of course, if any of your listeners have any questions regarding Fulbright or ComTap, feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help.
All right. So say goodbye to the listeners. Goodbye.
Bye.